for the month of February, I will be focusing on prep for the month of March, which I will be doing my first March of the Mammoths, which is for you to read a book that is over 1,000 pages. I am not going to set myself up for failure and say that I can read like 5 books, each 1,000 pages long. I just don't have the capacity nor the desire to read a book without at least highlighting. So that's going to take me time. I like taking notes. I ponder. I read a couple pages and I ponder a lot. So this video is going to walk through the pre-game prep that I am doing for March of the Mammoths. I'm Quinn Moon, I write queer fairy tales, and for this March of the Mammoths, I will be reading The Tale of Genji. Because The Tale of Genji is such a behemoth, if you are not aware, The Tale of Genji is what most scholars would agree to be the first novel ever written by Lady Murasaki of the Heian court of Japan. It is a sweeping epic that covers multiple generations, multiple complex themes. It is also very reflective of the court of Japan at the time, the politics of Japan and China especially at the time. This is not a book to just pick up off the shelf and just breeze right through it, right? So I'm spending the month of February reading supplemental texts in preparation to do my best to actually understand and process the Tale of Genji in the month of March. So first, let's get this out of the way. The translation of the Tale of Genji. There are multiple translations that are renowned for multiple reasons. Some of them are more contemporary, some of them are truer to the very difficult way that the Tale of Genji was originally written. And I went back and forth on this a lot. It was a crisis that I had to consult quite a few people on. There were tears, there was some blubbering, there was a lot of incoherent nonsense on my part, but the consensus was that if this is my first time reading the Tale of Genji, if I'm going at it by myself, there is no shame, as I was feeling ashamed, of selecting the more contemporary translation that is easier to read, because the original Tale of Genji and the Penguin edition of the Tale of Genji doesn't use names, doesn't use the same names consistently, refers to people by their titles, refers to people by a plethora of other names, but they're talking about the same person. Versus the more contemporary version gives people a single name that they use throughout the book. They don't expect you to know in the year of something when China was doing something political. Did Japan also learn from these politics of what have you that's happening? Instead, the contemporary translations, like in the Heian court of Japan, there was this scandal. I was still on the fence, even with everybody giving me their blessing, and it was kind of decided for me because I love me a Norton Critical Edition. It's my English major heart that just loves Norton Critical Editions. There is a Norton Critical Edition of the Tale of Genji, and it is the contemporary translation. I struggled to come to terms with the fact that I was reading a contemporary version of the Tale of Genji. And then my friend says, you know, the challenge setting doesn't always have to be set to hard, right? So I'm like, fine, I need to be humble. I am not an expert in the Heian court of Japan, the Heian era of Japan at all. I will take the more contemporary version to be able to understand and process the text and spend more time asking critical questions, pondering more things than trying to decipher who are we talking about in this sentence. So I will be reading the contemporary translation by Washburn or something like that, by Dennis Washburn, of the Tale of Genji. And one of the reasons that I love Norton Critical Edition are the supplemental texts. In the month of February, I will be reading the supplemental essays, critiques, other like translation excerpts, other poetry to support the text itself. That would be about this much of the book. So the actual Tale of Genji is still 1,175-ish pages. So, okay, so I will still have quite a few essays to read during the month of February. And then I will read the actual text for the month of March. I'm also going to enforce this with some cardstock because Quinn's flippin' and Quinn's notes, this is not going to last. This cover is going to be torn off. So I'm going to reinforce this before the month of March. Actually, before I even start reading the supplemental essay, so I need to make this a project soon. It doesn't take very long, but I do like it to not look awful. So I need to actually dedicate some time. As I've been watching videos about the Heian era of Japan, which I know nothing about. I still don't. I realized, or I learned, that apparently a lot of the writing was done by the women of the court, because the affluent, the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the aristocracy of the Heian court had so little to do with their time. The nobles, aristocracies, the aristocrats of the aristocrats spent their time playing games, writing poetry, painting, and the women spent it writing as well. So of course, when I learned this, I went to go get from my library the Norton Anthology of World Literature, in which we have excerpts from some of these women writers. Namely, they also have them from all over the world. So, I mean, obviously, Norton Anthology of World Lit. So I want to read excerpts of The Pillow Book, which was another prominent one, some poetry written by other women, some excerpts of the Tales of Heike. There are even some texts about the Tale of Genji. I might use this as like an intro to the Tale of Genji. So it's about 200-ish pages of supplemental context, other supporting texts of the time. There is a whole section of poetry. I might read that, I'm not sure. It depends, right? Because based on how some of my other contexts tell me, obviously I'm going to keep this until I'm through with it. So if there's poetry that's referred to, I hopefully will be able to reference it, if not reference some other poetry by the same author. But it'll be like 250-ish pages of supporting stories of the time. Since knowing that the writers were prominently women, I want to read what other women writers wrote. So that's what I'll be using this anthology for. I also have legends and paintings of the Tale of Genji. Based on the dust jacket, I'm guessing that these are illustrations inspired by the Tale of Genji. And my assumption is that the chapters align with the chapters in the Tale of Genji. I will be able to definitively say yay or nay once I get through it, as well as the visual companion to the Tale of Genji, which I'm waiting for. But these two are going to be, I think, probably more palatable because of the art, but I'm very excited. I also have this little book, which is the reading companion to the Tale of Genji. This is also by Dennis Washburn, so it kind of just lines up. I didn't need to be so difficult about the translation. Neither here nor there at this point, right? Or this one is by Puet. Title. Point is, this is a good companion to the Dennis Washburn translation. So according to the table of contents, I literally just received this today. This book covers the world of Genji, so it explains what was happening at the time that I, as a reader, couple thousand years removed, obviously am missing. They summarize all of the chapters of the Tale of Genji, and then there's notes on like the structure of the novel and questions for study. So I will also be reading this in the month of February so that I have a grasp of what I'm going to be working with, and hopefully not everything is extremely foreign as I go through the story. This is probably going to be where the majority of my time this month will be spent. Yes, I have the other essays in my books and all that, but these critical interpretations is part of a series that I've noticed my library has, and I've checked them out for a couple of other books. I haven't read them in their entirety because I just didn't give myself enough time to actually get through them. So I'm really excited to give the Tale of Genji ones a shot. So this is a collection of essays that cover everything from language and style, the heroines of the story, aspects of the Tale of Genji. Each essay is about 50 to 60 pages long. So I'm really excited to deep dive into this. I will probably create a vlog on an essay by essay basis, simply because this is how I document my stuff without writing a million words a month. And I want to be able to reference it back when I'm like reading the Tale of Genji, when I'm reading other supplemental essays. I'm pretty sure I will have my own essay responses based on what the context of these are. Honestly, I'm probably going to be setting up a Notion to track everything because I don't have a very good system set up right now. But seeing how this is going to be my first month of near academic, amateur academics, but academic research, I want to try to set up a scalable system because I love doing these analyses. I like thinking about the books. I like pondering and asking questions, and I want somewhere that I can document it and maybe share it if anybody cares. You know, someone might care at some point. This is gonna be some pretty heavy reading. It's 350-ish pages, and I'm really excited. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 books. I could just count them, right? 6. There are 6 books that I will be reading in the month of February for the Tale of Genji, specifically for pregame prep. Because of the other books that I will also be reading, I wanted to try to tackle this as systematically as possible and allocate time in advance. This didn't go very well when I tried it in December, and I spent way too much time on a brief history of everything of life on Earth. But hopefully that doesn't happen this time around, and I'm able to just enjoy the process a little bit more. I don't intend to become a Genji scholar after this, so I'm less inclined to sit there and decipher and spend 5 hours an essay, unless I guess I want to do that, right? But I do want to try to get through these in a pretty timely manner. Got my handy dandy planner here. So, schedule. I want to read this book from February 3rd to the 8th. So that's about 50 to 75-ish pages a day. I will be going out of town the week of February 10th to the 15th. So I want to get through Legends and Paintings as well as the visual companion to the Tale of Genji. I figured that's pretty reasonable for my capacity that week. I don't want to take these with me on the flight simply because these are from my library, and I just don't want to risk it. If I ruin one of my books, I'll get another book. If I ruin one of the library's books, I do feel bad about it. And obviously I use my library a lot, so I want to remain in good standing. When I get back February 17th to the 22nd, I want to tackle the short stories, the 250 some odd pages of supplemental text in here, and if possible, start the critical essays in here. That would be ideal. The last week, February 24th to March 1st, I want to get through the reading companion, or I might read this sooner. This is small enough that I think I can squeeze it in, but February 24th to March 1st, odds are is going to be like a wrap up week to hopefully close out any outstanding action items, my God. No, to hopefully just wrap up any lingering books. I will also be taking notes throughout this. I will be documenting this in my vlog because I will be returning those to my library. I can't keep them, so I will need some pretty detailed reference. So I don't know what vlogging is gonna come out of it. It's gonna probably be pretty nuanced. I might have different versions of walkthroughs. These, I'm gonna have an essay by essay breakdown. I want to have that paper trail. I don't know if everybody wants that level of detail, so I'll probably do a comprehensive commentary on the book plus my own documentation of the chapter essay by essay breakdown, and then my vlog will be a little more high level. Try not to drown anybody in details if you don't want it. This is my pre-reading prep for March of the Mammoths, A Tale of Genji. This is about 1,200-ish pages. I'll be reading the equivalent in supplemental text as the book is long, so that's kind of funny. But I think that even if I get through a portion of these, I will be able to better appreciate the Tale of Genji when I read it in March. So that is what my prep looks like. Yes, this is the amount of prep that I do at a minimum for larger texts. The Iliad is a book that has a special place in my sick little heart. I'm giving myself 8 to 10 years to familiarize myself with the Bronze Age. I spend 3 months out of the year every year learning about the Bronze Age. That one is going to be a lifelong book, and I think that the Epic of Gilgamesh is going to be the next one. But that's for another video. That is what I'll be reading for my prep to read the Tale of Genji in March. And obviously for March of the Mammoths, the Tale of Genji is going to be the one book and the one focus. So less breadth, more depth. Let me know if you've read the Tale of Genji. Let me know if you read any of the essays, the supplemental context, if you recommend any other supplemental context so that I can understand it more. I would really appreciate it. But that is it for this video. I will catch you again next time. Bye!